Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about every single reputation in Mists of Pandaria, the rewards that come with these reputations, and why you might want to do them. And I'm going to be going in the order from what I deem the most important to the least important, or even just straight up useless reputation. And there actually are two of them in Mists of Pandaria, which is pretty funny. But let's start it off by talking about the most important rep, and that is going to be the Golden Lotus reputation. So you start with the Golden Lotus reputation by simply unlocking the Veil. This quest is one of the most important quests for every person to do in Mists of Pandaria. So when you are level 87, you will get a quest to go to the Temple of the White Tiger. You do some RP in there with Anduin and friends, and then you will go to the gate down here at Southern Kunlai Summit, and that will unlock the Veil of Eternal Blossoms. Then you go to the Golden Pagoda, and then you go to the Shrine of Tomb Runes, and it introduces you to people, and it will even introduce you to the Golden Lotus Quartermaster, which is right here at the Vale, all the way at the bottom of the Mogashan Palace. So he is the Quartermaster, and why the Golden Lotus is so very good is, one, it gives really good rings. So this is a really powerful ring. I even bought this on my character right now, as well as they have decent shoulders, which most people should get if you do not get lucky and get raid shoulders. So shoulders and ring are very valuable for most classes. This obviously changes by each class that you are and what you can get as far as valor goes, but the most important thing about the Golden Lotus is upon hitting Exalted, you will get a 489 neck piece from doing a quest chain, and that is a piece of gear that is very, very valuable to essentially everyone in the game. And there aren't, like, necks, rings, trinkets, weapons, those are the rare pieces of gear that there aren't too many of that are really good to get. So Golden Lotus, I think, takes the #1 spot for most important ref. And originally you had to get Golden Lotus to Revere to even start Shado-Pan or August Celestials. However, luckily in Classic, that has been removed. So that brings us to our second reputation, which is going to be the Klaxxi, and I'll see you when we get there. Alrighty, so the next reputation is going to be the Klaxxi here, and there's pretty much the central storyline of the Dread Waste. If you are, the moment you hit 89, you should really come here and do these quests to kill two birds with one stone, because you literally can't do them unless you do the quest chain anyway, so might as well do it at 89, get some XP as well. And it's a pretty fast zone. I finished it in about between 3 and 4 hours, so not too bad at all, and gets you that level 90. But essentially you unlock Paragons of the Klaxxi, and then they are the ones that give you your dailies. You'll have 6 from Honored all the way to Revered, and then once you're Revered you get 2 more, and you will have 8 dailies to do per day. And what's so important about the Klaxxi is very similar to the Golden Lotus, is they will give you a 489 ring for doing their quest line upon hitting Exalted. So it is a really powerful piece of gear that you will use. Then with their Quartermaster, they do unlock some very decent Valor pieces with Valor legs, as well as a Valor neck, but the neck isn't very good, and you get Valor belt pieces from them as well. Every class is different when it comes to specific Valor pieces, so whether or not to use those or not is very up in the air. And then when you hit Exalted, you actually get 463 heroic weapons too, which are pretty decent if you do not have any weapons at all, and stat wise they could be better than what you're currently using. So it is something to keep in mind, but probably not too important with the raid being out and world bosses now. But anyway, those are the rewards from Klaxxi. Like I said, every class has different varying what needs of the Valor pieces just for their statting and what they go after compared to PvP pieces, as well as pieces from the raid. So that is very class by class basis, but the most important thing is the quest ring of 489 as well. Very similar to Golden Lotus with that. So that brings us to our next reputation, which is going to be a tie between two of them, and I'll just go to one first and tell you about it. So I'll see you then. Whoop. And then the next one in our list, it really is a very close tie and probably depends on the class that you are doing. It is going to be the Shado-Pan, and then the next one is the August Celestials. So the Shado-Pan brings some really unique things with it, and in order to unlock the Shado-Pan, it's essentially just questing here. I would highly recommend at 88, you come here, and from 88 to 89, you blast town long steps. You can do it with flying on an ult in about 2 hours. When I was here the first time, it took me about 3. It is incredibly good. It is the best zone for questing that I have seen in all of MoP, and I go here every time my character hits 88, and that rep usually gets you to honored, and if you have a character already revered like I do, you'll have the combination, so you might even get revered off the rip just from doing the quests here. So I'm not entirely sure where you will fall, but it is not too hard to do rep wise. And what unique rewards that they bring is a cape with Valor and Valor trinkets. Now, these trinkets can be very good for some classes. They're just sort of a use to get your main stat. They're main statted, and they're used to get a secondary stat. So depending on your secondary stat, for example, this Iron Belly Walk is actually really good on a Ret Paladin and increases their haste by a ton, which is really good with strength. And that it's not its best trinket, but I ended up buying that on my pally because it is really decent. Then they also have head for 2050 Valor as well. But once again, these rewards just really depend on the class you're playing and the other options you have available. The most unique thing is these trinkets, and other than that, it is pretty cool to do the Shado-Pan. Like I said, at 88, come here and blast it. Then we have the August Celestials, which are quite the special one, if you will. So I will go there and talk about that and see when we get there. Next, we have the August Celestials. Like I said, these are greater than or equal to the Shado-Pan, depending on your class and what pieces it needs from Valor. They are located right here at the Shrine of Two Moons for their Quartermaster. They have some pretty cool rewards, like the Celestial Offering. It will give you a main stat boost, depending what temple you are at. They have an amazing Royal Satchel if you're a tailor. They have the Thundering August Cloud Serpent, which is a really cool mount. But more importantly, they have hands, boots, and wrists for Valor. I actually am currently using some Valor pieces on my wrist, so it is really, really helpful to get them here. And you're able to use this and look into your gear and see what you have for Monk. These are a really good piece of gear, and I was able to get them. What's really unique about the Celestials is they have a daily quest to send you to each temple. So you either go to the Temple of the Jade Serpent here, you either go to Temple of the White Tiger here in Kunlai Summit, you can go to the Nazu Temple here in Townlong Steps, or Karasang Wilds for the Cradle of Chi-Ji for the Red Crane. So those are the four, pretty much like the four corners of Pandaria is where they lie, and it is a really cool sort of little thing. It is the slowest rep of all of them because you only get the 4 quests all the way up. I'm not even revered with them yet, so it is quite the grind, but it is worth it in the end for those really cool rewards. So really just depends what character you have, and you really only have to go to honor to get them. Everything else after that is like mounts, cosmetic, things like that. I would recommend revered though, so you can unlock better things. You get revered for boots, and that's about it. Other than that, and everything else you can get at honored, so it's nothing too crazy. But the revered would be good in order to have all your other characters get to honored with them a lot faster, because they are the slower reps. So I would just keep that in mind. An important thing to note with the world bosses is everybody gets a free 476 boots from killing the Shah of Anger as well. So that's why boots aren't that important here with the August Celestials, because there's other ones to get. Now I'm going to go to the next one, and this one's importance is better than the others because it is a absolute money printer. So I'll see you when we get there. So our next reputation that we are going to talk about, and boy have I talked about them, is the Tillers. Now, the tillers do not provide anything actually towards your character's power, other than the sense they allow you to grow the food and learn the cooking and make the best food that you would need for your characters. And so if you have gold, it does not matter. The only thing that you will get from them is things to improve your farm or cosmetic things like a white riding goat like this, or any other shade of goat that you would want. And then other than that, it's really just food. There's no character power with them. However, it does print a ton of gold, and you can even grow motes of harmony, which you can use for your profession. So like I said, Tiller's very gold making heavy, and you can utilize this. You can get up to 16 plots by the time you're exalted with them, and it's very useful for gold. But other than that, you get no actual character power. So as far as character power goes, it is not good for those. So I'm going to head to the next two, which are very similar in the sense they give you no power and are purely sort of cosmetic and stuff. So if you're only about character power, there's no reason to really look into the remaining reputations. But anyway, I'll still talk about them, so I'm going to see the next one. Whoop. So this one ranks just slightly higher than the next one for one reason and one reason only, because I love fishing. But not really, it actually has a real utility use. So we are here at the Anglers, and the Anglers are a completely optional rep. You don't have to do them for anything other than if you like to fish or want to get their reps completed. There are no actual power rewards, but there is one very, very useful one, and that is the Reigns of the Azure Water Strider, and this allows you to mount and run on water, which is an amazing effect. And later on, I think Legion, if you have this, they will give you a tool that lets you essentially let it's mount equipment, and it lets every single mount ride across water. So it's pretty useful here in MoP and other places, especially when you go into places like Throne of Thunder or the Thundering Isle, and places like that where you can only have a ground mount. There are bodies of water that are worth crossing, or anytime you're just out in the world and you need water walking. It's really useful leveling in Pandaria, but by the time you can get exalted with them, you will already be flying, so it's not really that crazy. Then they also have this thing, but this is more of a friend system than that Pagel, but you will be able to increase your fishing up by 50 skill on a bind down account, so 900 gold right there. So you could spend about 12k and max your fishing out on any character across your account, which is pretty crazy, honestly, but just pretty much a bunch of fishing rewards that you can get and use. And we are here at Angler's Wharf in Karasang Wilds. But let's go over to the next one that is purely cosmetic and doesn't have the ability to have you walk on water. So I'll see you when we get there. Alrighty guys, so our final rep here is going to be the Cloud Serpent. Now this is how you get the Jade, Golden, or Azure Cloud Serpent and the ability to ride them. However, they gave us a Shaw Touch one with a pack from the store that you can just ride whenever. So it's kind of not as cool anymore this time around. And the rewards, if you're a jewel crafter, you can get the Panthers to make, or a jeweled Onyx Panther, which, you know, is a really, really cool flex and costs a ton of gold, but it isn't really anything that you need. And then you just get a bunch of things to do races or drop a cloud ring, and it's really nothing special or towards your character. To me, I already got these mounts in the original MoP and did everything with them, so I really haven't touched them at all here, especially since I just have a Shaw Touch Cloud Serpent to fly on. So it's just really, really interesting, and it's something that you can do for pure cosmetics if you want. Then the actual final reps are going to be the Jin'su if you are Alliance, or the Hozen if you are the Horde. Before you even leave Jade Forest, you are exalted with these factions, and they have no quartermaster. They give you nothing, and there is absolutely no purpose of them at all that I can see other than unlocking the Jade Forest area and not being phased or hostile towards them when you're at the northern part or southern parts of this area. So there's nothing really unique or special that I have found with them. Everything that you get rewarded for doing these quests is the quest, not an actual reputation checkpoint with them. But that is every single reputation here in Pandaria. We do get more when the Thundering Isle comes out, and Throne of Thunder and all of that, which I will definitely talk about when those come out and everything we need to know about them. But I truly hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to add, definitely drop it down below, and I will do my best to cover them as always. And until next time, I'll see you later. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey you. Yes you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.